The transport ship was late. Ethan Cole stood alone at the edge of the landing platform, looking out over the alien city of Veltaris. Tall stone towers curved toward the dark purple sky. Thin lights moved like slow rivers along the streets below. The air was heavy and warm, carrying the low sound of bells that rang again and again through the city. They were morning bells. Ethan had been on this world for 3 weeks. He had come as part of a small human delegation, sent to observe and protect diplomats during peace talks. The talks had failed. 2 rival alien factions could not agree, and when their warrior king died during a border clash, everything collapsed. Now humans were leaving. Most of Ethan's unit had already boarded the transport. He stayed behind only because Command ordered him to escort one last data case to orbit. After that, he would leave this world forever. That was what he believed, until he heard footsteps behind him. He turned slowly, his hand resting near his sidearm. An alien woman stood several steps away. She was not armed. She wore dark ceremonial clothing that flowed down her slender frame. Her skin was pale silver blue, marked with faint natural patterns along her cheeks and neck. Her eyes were large and deep, filled with something heavier than fear. Grief. Ethan had seen many kinds of aliens, warriors, traders, politicians. He had learned how to read their body language, how to stay calm around species far stronger or faster than humans. But this woman did not carry threat, she carried loss. "I was told a human still waited here," she said softly. Her voice was melodic but tired, as if each word cost her strength. Ethan straightened. "That's me. The transport will arrive soon. This area is restricted." "You shouldn't be here." She took a careful step closer. "My name is Lurie of House Vaylor. I am newly widowed." Ethan felt his chest tighten. He had heard the bells. Everyone on the planet had. "I'm sorry for your loss," he said, meaning it. Lurie studied his face as if searching for something. "You are a soldier," she said. "Yes, a protector. That's part of the job," she inhaled slowly. "Then I will speak plainly. I have very little time." The bells rang louder in the distance. Ethan frowned. "What do you need?" Lurie lowered her head, a sign of respect in her culture. When she lifted it again, her eyes were wet but steady. "Tonight is the night of passing." Ethan had heard the term before. He knew it was important, but no one had explained the details. "Yes," he said carefully. "By our law," she continued, "a widow must stand beside a bonded partner during the night of passing, not the one she lost, but the one who stands for her future." Ethan felt a chill despite the warm air. "And if she does?" "She becomes unbound," Lurie said. "No name, no house, no protection. Her property is taken. Her children, if she has any, are reassigned. She may not speak before the council. She may not travel. She may not live within the city walls." Ethan stared at her. That's harsh." "It is tradition," Lurie said, "and tradition does not care about grief." Ethan understood now why she had come. "Surely there are others," he said. "Your people, they will not," she interrupted gently. "My husband died defending a cause that now stands condemned. To stand with me tonight is to share his shadow. Any alien male who does so risks exile or worse." Silence fell between them. The bells echoed again. Ethan felt the weight of her words settle in his chest. He already knew what she was going to ask. He just did not know how to answer. Lurie took another step forward. She was close enough now that he could see faint scars along her wrists, marks of past bindings, ceremonial or otherwise. "You are leaving this world," she said. "You do not belong to our houses. Our punishments hold no meaning for you." "That's not entirely true," Ethan replied. "If I break local law, I am not asking you to claim me forever," she said quickly, as if afraid he would turn away. "Only for tonight, only to stand beside me. To be seen, to fulfill the form of the law." She hesitated, then spoke the words that would change everything. "Make me your wife just for tonight." The platform seemed to shrink around them. Ethan felt his heart pounding. He thought of command protocols, of diplomatic consequences, of reports and hearings and possible court-martials. He thought of how humans were already seen as dangerous outsiders by many worlds. He also thought of what would happen to this woman if he said no. "You don't even know me," he said quietly. "I know enough," Lurie replied. "I know humans choose when others obey. I know humans stand even when they are alone. I have watched your soldiers these past weeks. You guard each other without being ordered. You stay with the wounded when retreat would be easier." Her voice trembled just slightly. "I do not ask for love, I ask for mercy." Ethan looked away, toward the city. He imagined her standing alone under the eyes of the council. He imagined bells ringing for her too. He exhaled slowly. "What happens during this night?" he asked. Relief flickered across her face mixed with fear. "We must walk the ceremonial grounds. We must remain together until dawn. There are watchers, trials." "Trials?" Ethan repeated. "Yes," she said. "They test the bond." Ethan gave a dry smile. "Of course they do." He turned back to her. "If I do this, I do it my way. No lies about force or coercion. You chose me and I chose to help." Lurie nodded. "That is acceptable. And if this puts you in danger later, then at least I face that danger as myself," she said, "not as a shadow." The sound of the transport ship echoed faintly in the sky. Ethan knew it was descending. If he walked away now, no one would stop him. He reached up and tapped his comm unit. "Command," he said. "This is Cole." A pause. "Cole, where are you? Board the transport immediately." "I can't," Ethan replied. "I'm staying planetside for the night." Silence. Then, "Explain." "I'm escorting a civilian under local law," Ethan said carefully. "One night only. This is not authorized." "I know," Ethan said. "I'll take responsibility." He cut the channel before they could respond. Lurie looked at him with disbelief. "You would defy your own leaders." Ethan met her gaze. "I won't abandon someone when I can help. That's also tradition mine." The bells began to change rhythm, slower now. The night of passing was beginning. Lurie straightened, her posture shifting. Grief was still there, but now it was wrapped in purpose. She extended her hand. Her fingers were long and cool. Ethan hesitated only a moment before taking it. As soon as their hands touched, nearby lights brightened. A soft hum filled the air. Distant figures turned to look. "They are watching already," Lurie whispered. "Let them," Ethan said. They walked together off the platform and into the city. The ceremonial grounds were vast, made of white stone and open to the sky. Tall pillars surrounded the area, each carved with names of the dead. Hundreds of aliens stood at the edges, silent and unmoving. When Ethan and Lurie stepped into the center, a low murmur spread through the crowd. "A human," someone whispered. "This is not allowed." "Has she gone mad?" Ethan felt every eye on him. His instincts screamed, but he kept his pace steady. He stood tall, shoulders back, just as he had been trained. A robed figure approached, their face hidden behind a mask of polished bone. "State your bond," the figure demanded. Lurie squeezed Ethan's hand once, then spoke clearly. "This is Ethan Cole of Earth. He stands with me by choice." The robed figure turned to Ethan. "Do you accept the role of bonded protector for this night with all duties and risks it carries?" Ethan swallowed. "I do." A deep tone rang out. The ritual had begun. As they were guided toward the first path between the pillars, Lurie leaned closer and whispered, "You should know something." Ethan glanced at her. "What?" "This night is not only watched," she said. "It is tested. Some trials are dangerous." Ethan tightened his grip on her hand. "Then it's a good thing I didn't come unprepared." Lurie looked up at him, surprised. For the first time since her husband's death, a small, real smile touched her lips. And somewhere deep within the city, something ancient stirred, uncertain, challenged, and watching the human who had chosen to stand where no one else would. The first path led between pillars carved with names so old they had worn smooth. Pale light drifted above the ground like thin mist. Ethan kept his pace slow and steady, matching Lurie's steps. He could feel tension in her hand, but her posture stayed proud. Whispers followed them. Some aliens watched with open anger, others with confusion. A few with quiet curiosity. No one stepped forward to stop them. The ritual protected its participants for now. The first trial is always memory, Lurie said softly. It tests whether the bond can carry the past. Ethan nodded. Meaning? Meaning they will try to break us by reminding me of what I lost. As if summoned by her words, the air ahead shimmered. The path widened into a circular space. At its center stood a tall stone mirror, dark and reflective. The robed figure raised one hand. Step forward, it commanded. Lurie stopped. Her breathing slowed, but Ethan felt the tension rise. He stepped with her, staying close. The mirror shifted. Shapes formed on its surface. A battlefield appeared, alien warriors in armor, fire in the sky. Ethan saw a male alien at the center, tall and strong, holding a broken weapon. Lurie gasped. "That is my husband," she whispered. The image showed him turning as if seeing her. His mouth moved, though no sound came out. The scene replayed his final moments again and again. Ethan felt anger burn in his chest. This was cruel. He tightened his grip on Lurie's hand. The robed figure spoke again. "Widow, speak his name. Remember your bond." Lurie trembled, her eyes filled with tears. "Kaler," she said, "my bond, my shield." The image brightened, pressing closer, forcing her to relive the pain. Then the voice changed. "And now," the figure said, "speak the name of the one who stands with you." Silence fell. Lurie turned to Ethan. Doubt flickered across her face. This was not part of tradition. Widows were never asked to name another so soon. Ethan leaned closer. "You don't owe me anything," he said quietly. "Say it only if you want to." She swallowed hard. Then she straightened. "Ethan Cole," she said clearly. "He stands with me now." The mirror cracked. The battlefield vanished. The stone split down the middle and crumbled into dust. A low sound spread through the crowd, not anger, not approval, but surprise. The robed figure lowered its head slightly. "The first trial is past." As they moved on, Lurie exhaled shakily. "No one has ever broken the mirror before," she said. Ethan shrugged lightly. "Guess humans are bad for tradition." She almost laughed. Almost. The second path led downward into a narrow passage carved into the earth. The air grew cooler. The light dimmed. "This is the trial of dependence," Lurie said. "It tests whether the bond can endure weakness." "That sounds encouraging," Ethan muttered. The ground beneath them shifted without warning. The stone split. Ethan reacted instantly, pulling Lurie toward him. The floor dropped away, leaving a wide gap. They jumped. Ethan landed hard, rolling to absorb the impact. Lurie stumbled, but he caught her before she fell. She looked at him with wide eyes. "You reacted without thinking," she said. "That's how training works," he replied. They moved forward, but the passage grew unstable. Stones fell from the ceiling. The ground tilted. Then Lurie cried out. Her foot slipped between broken stones. She fell sideways, pain flashing across her face. Ethan knelt beside her. "Don't move." He examined her ankle. It was twisted, swelling already. "I can't walk," she said quietly. From the shadows ahead, shapes moved. Low animal sounds echoed through the passage. Ethan drew his sidearm, then hesitated. "Are weapons allowed?" "No," Lurie said. "The trial expects the protector to choose." Ethan holstered the weapon. He slipped an arm around her back and another under her knees. "What are you doing?" she asked. "Carrying you." "You don't have to. I said I'd stand with you," he replied. "This counts." The creatures emerged, lean, four-legged beasts with hard eyes and sharp teeth. They circled slowly, sensing weakness. Ethan turned his body, placing himself between them and Lurie. He backed away step by step, careful not to fall. One creature lunged. Ethan kicked out, striking its jaw. Pain shot up his leg, but the creature retreated with a sharp cry. Another moved in. Ethan grabbed a loose stone and threw it with all his strength. It struck the creature's head. It collapsed, stunned. The others hesitated. Ethan's breathing grew heavy. Sweat ran down his face, but he did not stop. Finally, a deep tone echoed through the passage. The creatures fled into the darkness. The ground leveled, light returned. The robed figure appeared again. The second trial is past. Ethan gently set Lurie down on a low stone bench. He tore a strip from his uniform sleeve and wrapped her ankle tightly. "You should have let me fall," she said softly. "Many would have." He shook his head. "Not my way." She watched him with a strange expression. "On my world, strength is shown by dominance, by standing above others." He met her gaze. "On mine, strength is shown by who you're willing to lift." They sat in silence for a moment. Then the bells changed tone again. "The final trial," Lurie said. "It is the hardest." They emerged into an open courtyard beneath the night sky. Stars burned bright above them. At the center stood a raised platform. Around it, the crowd had grown. More watchers had gathered. Even high-ranking council members stood among them. "This is the trial of choice," Lurie said. "It decides whether the bond is real." The robed figure addressed them both. "Protector," it said to Ethan, "you may leave now. The ritual allows it. If you step away, the widow will face judgment alone." Murmurs spread through the crowd. "You are not bound by blood," the figure continued. "You owe her nothing beyond this moment." Ethan looked at Lurie. Her face was calm, but her eyes held fear she did not hide. "If he leaves," someone whispered, "the law will take her." Ethan stepped forward. "I'm still here," he said. The robed figure tilted its head. "Understand the consequence. By staying, you accept the council's judgment." "I understand," Ethan replied. Lurie's breath caught. "You don't have to." "I know," he said. "I choose to." The robed figure raised both hands. "Then hear the judgment." A council member stepped forward. "The ritual is complete, but the bond is irregular. A human standing as protector challenges our law." Another spoke. "Yet he fulfilled every duty." A third added, "If we deny this bond, we deny our own tradition." The debate grew heated. Voices rose. The crowd leaned in. Ethan stood still. He felt eyes on him from every direction. Somewhere above, a human ship waited. Command messages buzzed on his comm, unanswered. Finally, the eldest council member raised a hand. Silence fell. "The bond stands," the elder said, "for this night and beyond it." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Lurie swayed. Ethan caught her again, steadying her. "You are no longer unbound," the elder continued. "Your house remains yours." Relief crashed over her like a wave. Tears spilled freely now. She bowed deeply. Ethan exhaled slowly. He had not realized how tense he had been until that moment. As the crowd began to disperse, Lurie looked up at him. "You changed my fate," she said. "Why?" Ethan thought for a long moment. "Because no one should face the dark alone," he said. Above them, the bells rang one last time, this time not in mourning but in quiet acknowledgement. And far beyond the city, human command watched in silence, realizing that one soldier's choice had just changed more than a single night. Dawn did not bring peace. When the first light touched the white stone of the ceremonial courtyard, the crowd had already returned. More aliens arrived from every district. Armed guards stood along the outer paths. Council banners hung from the pillars, signaling an emergency session. Ethan stood beside Lurie at the center platform. He had not slept. Neither had she. Her injured ankle was wrapped, but she leaned on him without shame. The bond they had shown during the night had not faded with the darkness. If anything, it had grown heavier. "They will not let this end quietly," Lurie said. Her voice was calm, but her fingers tightened around his arm. "I didn't expect them to," Ethan replied. "Nothing important ever does." The robed figures returned, this time accompanied by council members in formal armor. The elder who had spoken before stepped forward. "By tradition," the elder said, "the night of passing has ended. The ritual is complete. However, its outcome has created conflict." Ethan felt several eyes lock onto him with open hostility. "A human cannot stand within our laws," one counselor said sharply. "This sets a dangerous example," another replied. "The law was followed. Every trial was passed. A flaw in tradition does not become truth simply because an outsider exploits it." Ethan stepped forward before Lurie could speak. "I didn't exploit anything," he said evenly. "I followed your rules, all of them." Murmurs rose. "You speak out of turn," a counselor snapped. "I speak because you're deciding someone's life," Ethan replied, "and because my people are listening." That caught their attention. High above, a human observation drone hovered silently. It had arrived at dawn, sent by command after Ethan cut communication. Human ships now waited in orbit, watching events unfold. Lurie felt it too, the weight of interstellar eyes. "The widow's status is secure," the elder said at last, "but the bond remains undefined. Is it symbolic or does it stand as law?" "If it stands as law," another counselor said, "then the human becomes subject to our judgment." Ethan nodded once. "I accept that." Lurie turned sharply. "No, you cannot." He looked at her, steady and calm. "I said I'd stand with you. I meant it." The elder studied him for a long moment. "You understand the risk," the elder said. "If the bond is recognized, you may not leave freely. You may be judged as one of us." "That's your right," Ethan said, "but she doesn't lose hers." Silence followed. Then one counselor spoke, voice cold. "There is another option." All eyes turned. "The widow may denounce the bond," the counselor continued. "She may declare that the human acted under misunderstanding. The ritual would be void. The human would be released. Order would be restored." Lurie felt the words like a blade. She would be safe. Ethan would go free. Tradition would remain untouched. The elder turned to her. "This choice is yours." The courtyard went still. Lurie looked at Ethan. He did not speak. He did not plead. He simply waited, ready to accept whatever she chose. For the first time since her husband's death, the choice truly belonged to her. She stepped forward, standing on her injured ankle despite the pain. "I will not denounce him," she said clearly. Gasps spread through the crowd. "This human did more than fulfill tradition," Lurie continued. "He honored its spirit when our own people would not." "If you call that a flaw, then the flaw is not in him," a counselor hissed in anger. "You would choose an outsider over your own kind." "I choose justice," Lurie replied, "and I choose by will, not fear." The elder raised a hand for silence. "Then the matter is no longer simple," the elder said. "This becomes a question not of ritual, but of reform." That word struck like thunder. Tradition was the foundation of their world. Reform was dangerous. As the council withdrew to debate, armed guards closed in, not aggressively but clearly prepared. Ethan leaned closer to Lurie. "If this goes bad, humans will intervene." She shook her head. "If they do, it will prove everything our hardliners fear." Ethan understood. Human strength could protect, but it could also destroy trust. Minutes stretched into an hour. Then a sharp voice cut through the air. "The human must be detained." A group of guards stepped forward. Ethan moved instantly, placing himself between them and Lurie. "She has said her piece," one guard said. "You will come with us." Ethan did not raise his weapon. He did not resist. He simply stood firm. "If you take him," Lurie said, "you prove this council rules by force, not law." The guards hesitated. Above, human ships adjusted position. Power readings spiked, then stabilized, an unspoken warning. The elder returned, expression grave. "The council is divided," the elder said. "Some demand punishment, others see opportunity." The elder turned to Ethan. "You have challenged our customs without violence. You have upheld our trials without belief in them. Tell us why." Ethan took a breath. He spoke not as a soldier but as a human. "Where I come from," he said, "laws exist to protect people, not erase them. When a rule causes harm just because it's old, we change it. Not quickly. Not easily, but we change it." The crowd listened now. Even those who hated him could not look away. "I didn't come here to change your world," Ethan continued. "I came because one person asked for help and I could give it. If that's a crime, then maybe the law needs to answer why." The elder closed their eyes briefly. "Your words carry weight," the elder said, "more than you know." The council conferred one final time. At last the elder spoke. The bond is recognized, the elder declared. Not as temporary, not as symbolic, it stands as valid under the law. A wave of reaction surged through the crowd, shock, anger, awe. But, the elder continued, the human status must be defined. He will not be punished. Instead, he will be named witness-bound. Ethan frowned slightly, meaning, "You may leave," the elder said, "but your choice here will be recorded in our highest archives. Your actions will stand as precedent, and your species will be remembered as the one that forced us to see ourselves." Ethan nodded. "I can live with that." Lurie felt her knees weaken. Relief and fear mixed together. The immediate danger had passed, but nothing would ever be the same. As the crowd dispersed, some aliens looked at Ethan with resentment, others with respect. A few bowed. Later, as the sun climbed higher, Ethan and Lurie stood alone at the edge of the city, overlooking the vast plains beyond. Human Command finally reopened the channel. "Cole," the voice said carefully, "you caused a diplomatic storm." "I know," Ethan replied. "Also," the voice added, "you forced a planetary council to reconsider ancient law. That's unprecedented." Ethan glanced at Lurie. She watched the horizon, thoughtful, no longer broken. "I did what I thought was right," he said. The channel went quiet, then understood. "We'll talk when you're home." The connection closed. Lurie finally turned to him. "You could still leave," she said. "No one would stop you now." Ethan studied her face, not as a widow, not as a symbol, but as a person who had chosen to stand. "I will," he said, "soon." Her expression did not change, but something dimmed in her eyes. "But not yet," he added. She looked up sharply. "You stood with me for one night," she said. "You owe me nothing more." "I know," Ethan replied. "This isn't about owing, it's about choice." They stood in silence as the wind moved across the plains. Somewhere in the city behind them, old laws were being questioned for the first time in generations. And across the stars, the story was already spreading, of a human who stood in the place of a husband, not for power or reward, but because someone asked and he refused to walk away. The final choice was coming, not from tradition, not from law, but from two people who had learned what it meant to stand together when the universe was watching. The sky above Veltaris had turned from pale gold to deep orange as evening approached, casting long shadows over the city's stone spires. Ethan and Lurie stood near the edge of the ceremonial grounds, now empty except for them and a few lingering observers. The events of the last night and the council's final judgment had left a quiet tension hanging in the air. Though they were technically free, the consequences of their choices were only beginning to unfold. Lurie flexed her injured ankle, which had healed enough to walk but still throbbed with dull pain. "You could leave now," she said softly, her voice carrying a note of exhaustion. "Human Command will accept your departure. The Council has recognized the bond. You've done more than anyone expected." Ethan shook his head. "I could leave," he said, "but I don't want to, not yet." His gaze swept over the city and then returned to her. "I didn't come here to follow orders. I came here to help someone who needed it, and I'm still here because you still need it." Lurie looked at him, the words hanging in the air like fragile glass. She had spent days mourning, reliving the memory of her husband's death, and now she found herself confronting the unexpected truth. This human had shown her a kind of loyalty no alien had ever offered. He had chosen to stand beside her when every custom and law said he should not. "You are not like the others," she said, her voice trembling slightly. "I expected humans to be strong, yes, but also cold, detached. I did not expect courage that does not ask for reward." Ethan smiled faintly. "Courage isn't just about strength or weapons. It's about what you are willing to risk for someone else." He looked toward the horizon, where the sun was dipping below the mountains. "You taught me that last night." For a long moment, they stood together, the wind shifting gently around them. Then a distant murmur rose from the city. More citizens had gathered to witness what remained of the humans' presence among them. Some still whispered, shocked that a human had not only survived the ritual but had upheld it beyond expectation. An elder approached, stepping cautiously through the small crowd. "Cole," the elder said, voice firm but not unkind. "Your actions have left the council with no choice but to reconsider laws that were once absolute. Your species has changed how we see tradition." Ethan nodded. "That was never my goal. I only did what was right for someone who could not protect herself under old rules." The elder's gaze softened. "And yet, in doing so, you have saved a widow's house and shown the council that courage and choice matter more than fear and habit." Lurie's eyes shone with a mixture of relief and wonder. "The laws," she whispered, "they are changing because of him." "Yes," Ethan replied, looking at her directly, "because someone chose to stand when others turned away." They continued walking slowly through the ceremonial grounds, now quiet and bathed in the glow of the setting sun. Each step forward was deliberate, a reminder that the night's trials had left them both changed. Lurie's hand brushed against Ethan's, tentative but unafraid. The human's presence had shifted something within her, a spark of hope that had not been there since her husband's death. As they reached a higher platform overlooking the city, Ethan gestured toward the distant mountains. "You'll need to decide what comes next," he said gently. "The council has acknowledged the bond, but what about you? What do you want?" Lurie's eyes lingered on the horizon before turning back to him. "I have spent my life following rules and tradition," she said. "But with you, I feel the freedom to choose." She paused, searching his face. "I choose to remain by your side, not because I must, but because I want to." Ethan felt a surge of warmth in his chest. "Then we face what comes together," he said, his tone steady, unshaken by the unknown. "No laws, no customs, just two people making a choice." The wind picked up, lifting her hair in a soft wave. Lurie smiled, the first true smile since the ritual had begun. "It feels strange," she admitted, "to act without fear of judgment, to act simply because I wish it." Ethan reached out and took her hand firmly, not ceremonially but as a partner. "That's the way it should be," he said. "No one should ever tell you your worth is decided by the past or by fear." Behind them, the city seemed to hum quietly, as if acknowledging the shift in power, not the power of weapons or wealth, but the power of choice and courage. The citizens who had watched them had begun to see something new, something that had never existed in Veltaris, a human who had changed their laws by acting with honor and integrity. Suddenly, movement caught their attention. A group of counselors approached, not with anger this time, but with curiosity and cautious respect. One of them, a younger counselor who had opposed Ethan's presence during the ritual, spoke first. "Cole," he said, voice measured, "your actions have left a mark we cannot ignore. Perhaps your species can teach us something we have long forgotten." Ethan inclined his head, acknowledging the words without arrogance. "I do not seek to teach. I seek only to do what is right." Another counselor added, "And yet, what is right has always been clearer to you than it has to us." Lurie looked at the counselors, her expression a mix of pride and disbelief. "They are recognizing the value of choice," she whispered, "even if it comes from an outsider." The sun finally disappeared behind the mountains, leaving the city in the soft glow of twilight. Ethan and Lurie remained at the platform's edge, hand in hand, facing a future unknown. The world below was beginning to change, slowly, guided not by fear or obligation, but by the courage and integrity of one human who had dared to stand beside a widow in need. Ethan broke the silence. "There is still work to be done," he said. "The laws may change, but hearts take longer. People need to see that what we did, what you allowed me to do, matters." Lurie nodded. "Then we continue, together." The first stars began to appear in the darkening sky, sharp and distant. Their light was constant, unwavering. In that moment, Lurie realized something profound. Life could be rebuilt, laws could be questioned, and hearts could be opened. All it took was the willingness to stand, to act with courage, and to choose freely. "I never thought I would see this," she said softly. "A human who keeps his word, who fights for honor, who does not flee even when all eyes are against him. You have changed everything." Ethan squeezed her hand gently. "And you've shown me what it truly means to be brave," he replied. "To face loss, to face fear, and still move forward." They stood there, side by side, watching the stars emerge over Veltaris. The city below was quiet but not asleep. Change had begun, subtle and unyielding, carried by the courage of two unlikely allies. Hours passed and the city lights dimmed. Lurie leaned against Ethan's shoulder, weary but content. "Tonight," she said, "I am no longer a widow in the shadows. I am seen, I am protected, and I am free." Ethan looked down at her. "Not because I forced it, because you chose it." The first night had been about survival and ritual, about laws and fear. The following day was about choice, trust, and courage, and it was a beginning neither of them could have predicted. The future stretched before them, vast and uncertain, but for the first time it felt full of possibility. And as they descended the platform and walked into the city together, the citizens who still lingered watched with wonder, recognizing something extraordinary. The power of one human's courage, the strength of one alien's choice, and the hope they could create when they stood together. No words were needed. The bond they shared said it all. In the quiet twilight, with the stars above and the city around them, Lurie and Ethan had done more than survive a night. They had begun to change a world, and that world would never be the same again.